Police in Chicago are no longer allowed to chase a suspect on foot simply because that person's running away. So are they expected to just let criminals go now?
Yeah, well, in certain circumstances, yes. So this is going to start at the end of the summer. If that person, suspected criminal, is suspected of a minor offense, let's say a parking violation, driving with a suspended license, or drinking in public, you can't chase them on foot. You can if the officer thinks that person is about to hurt someone else. So it's all about discretion. But what sparked this new law is that last year, March of last year, 2 Chicago police officers chased 2 armed men and they were fatally shot. So this is an overcorrection of what happened then, unfortunately.
It sure seems like it. Yeah. Most interesting, I've got to say now. Well, Seattle. Well, that's a city that's had its problems with police chases. Jasonrantz is our Seattle guy, and he joins me now. Jason, this is not just Seattle or Chicago. All over the country, the police seem to be stopped from doing their job. Would you agree with that statement?
Absolutely. And it's not just being stopped from doing their jobs by people who have an awareness and understanding of policing. These are folks who are inherently anti-police. They have no training whatsoever in the field. They have no understanding of what it's like to be an officer, be in their shoes, constantly being put into harm's way just to protect communities, and they decide, okay, we know better than the actual people who are doing the jobs. They're not even really consulting with the management or command staff of a lot of these departments before they come up with, in some cases, just flat out policies like in Chicago. But in other cases, like in Washington State, they've actually implemented laws that have impacted policing for the negative. And it's, of course, as you point out, it's all happening at the same time as we're seeing this crime surge.
This can only change if local politics changes. I mean, the officials who are putting in place this kind of law and regulation, they've got to be voted out if you want to change the situation. Do you see any sign of a large-scale movement to really change the politics in these cities?
So I don't know if there's going to be a change of politics per se, but mostly because I think when we're talking about issues like this, I don't think the average person sees it as political. They don't necessarily see it as Democrats versus Republicans, especially in some of these progressive cities. However, there very clearly is some momentum on the side of making some changes. We've seen Chesa Boudin, the DA in San Francisco, be recalled. We've got the George Gascon situation. You've got Larry Krasner, Alvin Bragg. You've got a lot of these DAs, at least, who are getting significant pushback in progressive cities. Now, does that extend over to the Seattle City Council or the mayor of Chicago? We don't yet know that, because at the end of the day, I do tend to wonder whether or not people realize that police departments are so heavily impacted by a mayoral decision and pressure versus what's being done on the council. And can you get enough momentum to completely shift the power dynamics of a city council when it's not just about one election, right? It's about several elections. And then on top of that, they actually have to make the changes. I don't see that as being very easy or easy for people to connect. So we'll see what ends up happening. I'm certainly more hopeful than I was a year or two ago.
All right, Jasonrantz, our Seattle guy who comments on movements all around the country. Thanks for being with us, Jason. We'll see you again soon.
All right. Thanks, Stuart.